All right, so I do have 7 o'clock. I would like to open up the 8:27 meeting of the Wakefield Conservation Commission. First item is a roll call for attendance. And let's see, we have Jim.
Here.
We have Peter.
Here.
Teresa.
Here.
Ken.
Here.
And myself. Ali is joining us as our student liaison. And next item is approval of the minutes from August 13th. Anybody have any questions or corrections for those minutes? And if not, do I have a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, polling individually. Jimmy.
Yes. Okay.
Ken.
Okay.
Peter.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
And I also approve those minutes. All right, next up is DEP 313-592. That is 50 Corner Parkway. And let's see, we have John Ogren here. And I know we had some emails and some requests at the prior meeting. John, do you want to kind of take it over and get us up to date?
Yeah, there were a couple emails back and forth, but we got the original tie information from Mr. Fletcher, and we were able to plot up his hydraulic soils line. And from that, we were able to go out and stake it out on the ground. So that was staked out on Wednesday. So I believe it's all set to be reviewed by Mr. Fletcher.
Okay, perfect. And any questions or comments or anything?
A date has to be set up for that, is that correct?
Yeah.
Is anyone going to go when Peter Fletcher does his work?
Yeah, for me, it's going to be depending on the time and date.
Me too.
I'm going to try to go.
You know, for me, it would have to be sometime like after probably 5 on a weekday. Except for Mondays, I could.
Let me see what he wants to do. I don't know. Just John, are you going to be there, John?
Most likely someone from our office will be there.
Maybe Libby or someone?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
All right,
believe
well,
Mike
I'll-
Manzo would like to go also, so.
Okay. So I'll just find out from Peter if you guys have a preference or something, let him know. As far as the time goes, and I'll just try to follow along whatever you come up with.
Yeah, you're going to coordinate that, or Elaine?
I'll coordinate it.
Okay.
Elaine, will you send or have Judy send a calendar invite when we get that on the calendar so we see? That's just super helpful to me to get those
Okay.
calendars. I think everyone else feels the same. I'm pretty sure everyone else feels the same.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is actually, I don't see Judy. Judy, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. My
Okay.
Wi-Fi is down. Tried to do it on my phone.
Oh, okay. I did see a phone number pop up. I didn't recognize it.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, Elaine, I mean, I'm not sure what everybody else's availability is. But I actually do go to work every day. So I do have some constraints.
You're like a unicorn.
We go to work every day. We just work at home. Right? We go to work, right, Peter? We're working.
Yeah, can't say the same. So yeah, for me, it would have to be after 5, but don't make me be the limiting factor. If there's a time that works for Peter Fletcher and you guys are amendable.
Yeah, my sense is he'll probably want to do it before 5 o'clock, start before.
I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Elaine, are you going to be available to attend that also?
If it's on a Thursday afternoon or Friday morning,
Okay.
Okay, well,
Well,
maybe.
That actually would be preferable then.
Yeah, you should plan it around you, Elaine, then, yeah, and, because Jim, does that work for you?
That would work for me, sure.
Okay.
All right. Anything else on 50 Corner Powett?
I think that's it.
Nope.
John, you got anything else you'd like to discuss or anything?
I don't have anything.
Well, we're actually too early to move on to the 7:15 hearing, so we could actually cover some old business for the
Okay.
next 10 minutes. Judy or Elaine, any suggestions which one you'd like to cover first?
Oh, any of them is fine with me.
Is DEP 313582, is that Lovis?
Yes.
Why don't we take that next? Since John's right here too, still.
Wait, I don't see that on the,
On the agenda.
Yeah, it's under all new business. It's not identified as Lovis. It's just get the DEP file number.
I don't see that either.
It was submitted late, that's why.
Oh yeah, it's on the updated agenda.
Oh, did I get that? Did I get an updated one?
It was submitted late, so it doesn't go to get posted.
Okay, that's fine.
Who wants to fill us in? Discuss
fill it.
plantings in no disturb zone.
I will fill you in. So a week ago Wednesday, we met with some of the abutters that are out on Forest Street. And it was basically to talk about some screening. And we basically came up with I believe a plan that everyone's happy with, adding some plantings actually on the abutters property and some plantings on lot 3, which is the last lot on Lovis Ave. I can share my screen if you would like to
Sure.
see what I'm talking about.
Whoops. Hang on. All right, you should be able to share now, John, or in a second.
Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I got it.
So the area that we're talking about is this is 68 Forest Street. And going out on the ground, we looked at it. I just would like to point out that John Tedesco, who's on again tonight, he's in a butter too, and he and I worked together putting this together. But basically what we're proposing is 7 12 to 14 foot high green giant arborvitaes. Again, that will be planted onto the abutting property. And then we're also proposing in this shaded area, which is just beyond the limit of work, some shrubs, small trees, and some ground cover. I think the concern was that if you go out there on the ground, there's very little vegetation or ground cover due to the tall trees. And if we expose this area in here and cut down the trees around the house, that there's potential for unwanted plants to come in and kind of take over, especially where this is basically south-facing, it's going to get some sun. So to kind of prevent that, we were looking to get some more native type species, small plants, just kind of some plugs or #1 pot plants, just plant a bunch of them in there and hopefully get them to establish in that area, and kind of not allow the other plants to take over. So that's basically what we're proposing. We're back before the commission because As I'm sure you remember, there was a order of conditions has already been issued on this project, and there was this limit of a work line, and anything beyond that limit of work line was designated to stay in its undisturbed in its natural state. So we're just back before the commission to discuss with the commission how they felt about us adding these plantings kind of at the lower level vegetation wise.
So Joe, you have to bring in soil for those plantings in that area?
Potentially.
Okay. And the 12 to 14 foot high arborvitaes, are those the size you're planting, or is that the full grown size when they mature?
No, those are the size that we're looking to get at the time that we plant them.
Okay. So you'd be looking actually for a minor modification, right?
Yeah, I guess. I guess it would basically technically be a minor modification. Whereas it's generally the commission that look favorably on adding plantings, we didn't feel that this kind of modification was really changed the scope of the actual project.
Right.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's great. Both great ideas. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Anybody have a problem or concern?
No.
I just have a request. John, can you send this electronically to the office?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
So I guess we probably should take a vote just to make it official. So do we actually need to do anything here, Elaine, as far as issuing a minor modification, or?
I think it's so modern. I think, excuse me, it's so
Minor?
it's so minor. Yes, thank you. That with a plan and a cover letter in the file, it should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I think so. So let's just take a vote, to follow that recommendation, where it would be a cover letter with a revised drawing for the files. And let's see, Teresa,
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Okay. Ken?
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. Excellent. Looks like a good plan, John.
Just to clarify, do you need a cover letter from us kind of stating what was being, what's being proposed on this plan?
Elaine, that's your suggestion, correct?
I think the plan is pretty self-explanatory.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so excellent. Time-wise, what do we got here? 7:15. Actually, we can go to the next item on the agenda. There is no file number yet. It's 102 New Salem Street. Notice of intent to remove an existing building and septic system and construct a 1,600 square foot duplex with associated utilities, parking, and landscaping within 100 feet of a wetland and bordering land subject to flooding. John, it must be you again.
Just jump right into it then. Yeah, so there is a DEP file number issued on that.
Okay.
It's 313-0594. This is basically we filed for a notice of intent for activities within the 100-foot buffer. This property, there's an existing house. It's located it's just, if you're heading kind of westbound on New Salem Street, it's just past and Preston Street, just before you start to get to the real type buildings.
Peter, can I just ask you to we can hear your dog, even though do you mind just putting your microphone off?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Sorry, John.
So this is right next to Taylor Moving, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
It's just Dow's house.
So as I say, there's an existing house, there's a, paved parking area and driveway. There's a concrete foundation, so this is all concrete in this area here. There's an existing shed that's out near the wetlands. It's not a septic system per se, but there's an old septic tank that's there that we're proposing to remove.
Mhm.
The house is hooked up to the sewer. So as far as resources, wetlands resources, there is a bordering vegetated wetland that's delineated here along about halfway back on the lot. There is also 100-year flood. It's elevation 58, and that's delineated here. It's basically in this area in here. So
Mhm.
activities other than the removing the shed will be outside of that. As far as what
John,
we're proposing a two-family structure, ripping down the existing home. As I said, we're removing the concrete pad and the shed and removing the existing pavement and repaving a new driveway and parking area. All these activities are outside of wetlands in the 25-foot buffer zone. We've established kind of a erosion control line here, which is essentially the limit of work, except for, as I stated, we're going to be removing that shed. In terms of impervious area, it's about around 200 square feet additional impervious area in the proposed compared to the existing. So it's fairly minor in terms of the change from existing to proposed. I think that's essentially overview of what we're asking for.
Is this gonna have a full basement or a slab?
It is going to have a full foundation. We are proposing to kind of see the contours. We are filling this in some, and you can see there's quite a bit in terms of stairs to get up to that first level.
Right.
Because the groundwater is fairly close to the surface, down in this area.
that house as it stands right now is kind of raised up from the surrounding area anyways, isn't it?
It's kind of what?
Raised up from, it's kind of on a mound, isn't
Yeah,
it?
the existing house. Yes, correct.
So is that the top of foundation is 66.5?
Correct, yes.
So what's your basement floor elevation?
What's the what?
Basement floor elevation.
Where do you see that?
I don't know. I'm just asking, what's the basement floor elevation?
Oh, it would be basically 7.5 feet, so it would be at elevation 61. I'm sorry, no, not 61.
Not 61, it'd be 58.
58.
58, right.
It's gonna be right at the water table.
Correct.
Do you plan on dewatering?
Do I? Yeah, yes, I do. Actually, I believe the foundation is at 59, 1 foot above the flood zone. And
So
I-
yeah.
You're right, 59.
And I would put in a perimeter drain and all that stuff, but
Is that 100-year flood plain elevation going to change based on the draft information?
I did, when I first looked at this, I did look at that. I mean, I know you guys like to bring that up, but it's obviously not the current map. It still is elevation 58 in this area. The shape of the floodplain does change some. It actually is just better defined in this area. So it's still the same elevation of 58.
Thank you.
Just curious, you're probably gonna be putting sumps in there, right?
Yes, sir.
Is the back lawn is pretty much grass, isn't it, by the trees and everything? Is that all pretty well, vegetated with grass? I've never been back there, but I meant,
It's pretty much all green space, even on the right side.
Traffic to, say in this area or in here.
yeah,
So it's pretty much up to where the shed is, correct?
Yeah, even more up to the back of this concrete foundation.
Back in here.
All grass and then all up along the right side.
Mm. Okay.
What did you take in with the increase in impervious surface? I know you said it wasn't much.
It's about 200 square feet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's not much. So everyone, you're okay with that elevation for the foundation, for the basement floor? Makes me a little nervous, but
I'm not unopposed to having something changed to see what the site conditions are or a crawl space. I mentioned it to John.
yeah,
Be a little less on the walls. It's obviously not going to be any kind of finished basement or living.
yeah.
Kind of
I mean,
space down there, just mechanicals, which will naturally be up on pads.
yeah.
Um,
You didn't by any chance dig a hole to see where the water table was, did you?
Well, as a matter of fact, yeah, if you look, that manhole right to the right is a well. And right there, and that's probably 14 feet down. I'm gonna say, actually, maybe about 11 feet down right now, and there's probably about a foot of water in there
Okay.
right now.
Well, that's plenty deep for,
It's pretty deep, and even the current house, I mean, obviously the basement floor, I think, is about 2 feet higher than what we're
Yeah.
proposing.
yeah,
But there is a pit down there, and currently, right now, it's all dry in there. And even after the heavy rain the other day, I just wanted to take a look in there.
Yeah.
It's still dry.
yeah, okay.
Obviously, drought out.
Okay. And it looks like it's a pretty gradual slope in the rear. I would say is that a correct assumption?
Yes.
Okay. So did you answer whether you thought you'd have to do some dewatering?
Yes, I would, no matter what I did there, I would, just to be safe, of course, I'm going to put in a pit in the sump pump.
Yeah, but I mean, during the excavation process, you're saying you're gonna put something for permanent, dewatering, but while you're excavating, do you feel that you're gonna need?
It all depends when I start construction. If I was doing it now, I would say no. Absolutely.
Okay. So we should just put something in there to protect, in the event that you have to do some dewatering. Is there anything in there, John, that says you might need a dirt bag or something if things get wet? Hello?
I mean, you're asking, do you want us to add something for dewatering?
Yeah, I would add something in for dewatering, so you're not gonna dump it straight into the wetland.
No, I mean, you could certainly.
Just add something
this
that
area
says,
here, put up some hay bales or something like that and discharge into that. And
yeah, so I would recommend that I know you have plenty of details you could use to just put something down so that we're covered.
We can add that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's likely that under normal conditions, you would probably hit water, when you're excavating. Right now, yeah, probably not, but yeah,
We,
it's a good idea.
we did cut the sewer pipe in the spring. KB Equipment did it for me, and they dug down, I want to say maybe 6 feet right there at the street. And he said it was dry. There was a lot of gravel in there.
Okay, well, that's good. I see you got a lot of steps there, so you probably raised this all you could.
Yeah, there are. Once again, to see how it is, the field conditions, I would like to try to eliminate some of those steps.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we all know what happens on New Salem Street with, flooding and rain and all that.
Absolutely. I grew up on Butler Ave, so I'm well aware.
Might
oh,
need
was
to
your
talk-
father, was your father TiVo?
Yeah, that was my father. Yeah.
I know your father.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have anything else that I can think of. Is there something you want to look at, or?
Haven't we looked at this parcel before? For some reason.
No, it was the next door parcel, had an order, the one with the
Oh.
single family home,
Okay,
I think. There might have been something else, but I think that was it.
It was the next door parcel. There was something recorded. That lot next door was broken off from this lot at one time.
Okay,
right. Yeah, looking at the map, yeah, it was the next door property. It butts right up against Appleton.
so what are you gonna do as far as stockpiling material, things like that?
Well-
Or if-
Well, probably right on this right side where the garden is and stuff.
Yeah,
Is where the proposed drive is.
yeah,
Area.
okay, so if we said that use no stockpiling beyond, well, actually, you've got a silt fence in there.
Yeah, I would, it would be managed. And if I had to take some out of there, it's not a
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
We're gonna be bringing fill in to build up the area around the house, correct?
Yes,
So I think we also need to think about preventing that from washing into New Salem Street if there was a rain. Both directions, really. Somehow we need to make sure that we've protected whatever is being stored on site from washing either direction. New
absolutely.
Salem is at what? What's the elevation, New Salem? Down to 60?
60, yeah.
Yeah. So you could wash that right out if you're putting fill into that area. It could wash right into the street.
Right. I mean, we still have that gradual slope there, but, I mean, good construction practice, I would obviously do something,
Yeah.
at least it will.
All right.
She has to put some sort of hay bales or silt sock or something around if there's some stockpiling of material.
Yeah, I think we want to pretty much surround it,
Or cover it.
yeah, the perimeter of it and or cover. I mean, obviously all of us have seen the boats going down New Salem and kayaks and everything else
Yeah.
too many times. What are you gonna do with the roof runoff? Any plans?
I mean,
I don't know if you have a whole lot of options with that, groundwater being so high.
typically, on the last couple houses I do the dry wells. We haven't really talked about it. I mean, I would do that.
It'd have to be pretty tight to the house, probably because of the elevation. So what do you get? You get 60, 62?
Basically 62, and then it goes down to about 60 and a half rear of the,
So they'd have to be towards the front, most likely, right, John?
yep,
They'd have to be away from the house also.
They do, but they have to be towards the front from an elevation standpoint.
Yeah, but you don't want to be feeding the water back into the house
No,
through the basement.
no. Any possibility in the other side of the driveway? Get some storage over there, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, I guess the question, I guess I'm not sure how effective it's gonna be just
Well,
because.
that's only 60, 61.
Yeah. I don't know. The only place. Probably towards the back of the house, if anywhere, because I don't know how that would work. John, do you have any feeling for that? Do you think it's even beneficial to put them in?
In this case, I don't, like I said, I don't know how much real benefit you're gonna get from it. It's not like if the roof runoff discharge, the downspout discharge, to the ground essentially, there's a pretty decent travel path, vegetated travel path before it gets to the wetland. So it's not like it's discharging directly right into the resource area.
Right. Okay. Is both duplexes gonna have gutters on it then? Because how would you get it all to go back? Some would naturally have to go to the front towards New Salem Street just because of the grading.
I mean, it would have gutters. It's a gable roof, the gable facing New Salem Street, so it would have gutters on the left side and the right side, as we see on the drawing, looking at it now.
Yeah,
So yes, we would.
and it's still gonna travel across grass, right? To get to New Salem Street, because the grade's going towards New Salem Street. I mean, the house has been
grade-
there for years now. I've never seen any flooding from the house, so I'm not, this may be not necessary, I don't know. But I know just our house, it's never been flooded, and I don't remember there ever being a water problem there.
I mean, the grading will still all slope back, even from the front.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know.
If it's coming off the right side, it's gonna be running to the driveway. And that continues to slope down towards the property line. I mean, you may get icing across the driveway too in certain events.
Right. I know it's drawn, and I mentioned it to John, but I really don't even want a driveway that big with that much pavement. I'd like to, with that second set of steps come down, just come across. I mean, these aren't going to be, I mean, these are 2-bedroom units that I rent, and I've done it before, and I would think four spaces, a couple. I still have parking in the front for visitors. Tandem parking. I just did the house on Eden Street with tandem parking, just because I'm not a big fan of a lot of pavement.
Mhm.
Probably wouldn't want to see that driveway that big at all.
Well, that would help the impervious match the pervious, right? The 200 square feet would disappear probably.
I envision where those second stairs come up, that's the little porch, the second egress.
Yeah,
Across to the right there, all that pavement, I mean, that's gonna be green space. I mean, I still want to keep. I mean, I got nice gardens over there. I think I'll give my tenants a little raised garden bed or something.
hmm
I mean, I do like a lot of green space. I'm not just saying it because I'm on your meeting. I did a house on Eden Street, and you guys were talking about arborvitae's. I put in 75 of them on Eden Street, an 8,000 square foot lot, so I like a lot of trees.
Yeah, that's good. Does anyone need to look at this? I know the lot very well. I probably really don't need to go down there.
Yeah, no, I driven by it many times and we did walk the lot right next to it too.
Right. I mean, the only thing if I did walk it, I've never really looked closely at the back. I know there's trees back there, but I've never seen it. So maybe I can just do that, but other than that, I could do that on my own if I had to. And I tend to think that I don't know how good the dry wells would work in this area.
Yeah, it's tough with the grades. You don't have much depth to play with, nor great locations to put them because of that.
Mm. Yeah. Anyone else have anything to say? Hello?
I'm good. This
I'd
Peter.
be interested I've never been out there. I don't know if, so I'd be interested in walking it, but,
I'd be happy to. I'm not familiar with the property either, so I guess if you want to, Teresa, if you're gonna walk it, then I'm gonna walk it as well.
I'll go with you.
when is convenient, Peter?
I'm around.
Me too.
Actually, Sunday's better than Saturday if it's this weekend, because I think I might be committed to being out of town. But if it's early on Saturday, I could do it, I'm sure.
Saturday's not looking good weather-wise right now.
Sunday's supposed to be better weather. What about Sunday morning early, like at 9?
Okay.
Is that okay with you, Jimmy?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Is the house empty right now?
The house is empty, yes. Yep. If you're gonna be there at 9, if you don't mind if I come also in case you
Of
have,
course.
yeah, I can meet you there at 9, absolutely.
Great.
And the house is empty and yeah, you're welcome to.
Judy, can you send us an invitation, speaking of Outlook invitation?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I will not be available, but I have driven by there many times and have been on the lot next door. So I'll just kind of trust your opinions if you see anything of note. Anything else?
Sounds like that's it for me.
So the driveway though, are we doing something different there, Joe or John, with the driveway, or is this how you want to present it?
Driveway's not gonna be that big.
Well, if you can show it's shrunk down at least 200 square feet, that would be good for us.
Deal.
And that's what I would like to do, right where these second staircases coming across, just kind of cut it across. I mean, I know why it's drawn like this, backing out, not backing out in the street, but it's still near the front of the street. There's still, you can still back out and stays tight to the property and
Yeah, you've got that turnaround where that 1-inch copper line is.
Right. I wouldn't want to,
So you can use that obviously to back in, back out, or make a 3-point turn.
right. And I wouldn't want anything that close to my abutters either. I mean, they're nice, I'd like to give them
Okay.
space also.
Well, maybe John can just modify the plan to show what you're gonna put for a driveway.
Sure.
And then just give us a new calculation with the pervious versus impervious.
From an engineering standpoint, this was about as minimum as you could get to get people to be able to back out and get out onto New Salem Street.
It's the length though that Joe is talking about reducing, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying though, is these are the required length of spaces, and then for someone to be able to back out and get around and get out to New Salem, that's what they would require.
Okay.
If we want to show it something different and not have the back out and turn around, and then we can, certainly shorten the length of the driveway.
I mean, we need to obviously be safe also, but you're required to have a certain number of spots, right?
Yeah, you're required to have 2 per unit.
And that's why you're showing 4 spaces.
Correct.
So John, you're recommending that you leave the driveway just the way it is?
Yes.
Okay,
So it meets the minimum requirement and it's the safest way in and out.
Correct. Whether it gets built that way, that's a whole nother story.
Exactly. Thank you.
Do you need any zoning relief? Is this permitted as a matter of right?
No, everything here was by right. We went to town meeting and changed the zoning on it.
Yeah, this lot was changed to general residence, which allows a 2-family.
How long ago did that happen?
Town meeting, just the last town meeting,
Next town meeting? Okay.
But yeah, June, right?
June, yeah.
okay. I think we beat this thing up. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so there will be a site walk on Sunday at 9 a.m. For those who can attend. Judy will send out the invite. And some of us will be on site and see you Sunday morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, next, actually, there's nothing I'm seeing for hearings. It's just old business, new business. Judy, is that correct? There's no more hearings?
Correct.
Okay. We do have 2 items under old new. We have 26 Shady Ave site visit update. Ken, Jimmy, myself, and Elaine did go on that site walk last week. And where do we stand now?
And Peter.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You ran off, though.
So I get a half credit?
Yeah. Partial credit for showing up, yes. Yeah, you ran off before I could hand you all your packet. All right, so what do we have for an update on this?
May I ask that? Is anyone is anyone online from Shady Avenue?
No, I don't think so.
I don't
Okay.
see anyone.
All right, just curious.
Elaine, where do we leave off with this?
Well, did you guys get the photos I sent with the dump trucks and whatnot?
No,
No.
Oh, no. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I forwarded to you some photographs of the dump trucks dumping the soil in the back. The other thing is that I have the name of the trucking companies. So it seemed to me that they are also bear some responsibility here. And it seemed to me that if we could get the same people who used these trucks to dump the soil there to use the same trucks to haul them away, we stand a better chance of actually getting the work done. I think that the property owner made it very clear that it's going to be hard for him to come up with the money to fix this. So we've worked out a plan whereby he can get some bare root trees. He could get some stakes that he could drive into the ground around the stream, and they would probably take willow stakes work fairly well. He could get that started in September when the weather gets a little cooler, and get that going. But the first thing is to get those elevations down by removing the soil.
So you have the trucking company information?
I do.
Have you reached out to them?
No, I wanted to talk to you guys first.
Mm-hmm.
Elaine,
So-
you said you sent us pictures showing the trucks dumping the dirt in there?
Yes, I must say, I'm surprised you didn't get them. Something went wrong.
So wait, when did that happen?
Spring, maybe? No, maybe last fall.
You talking about the pictures or the dumping?
I meant the dumping.
Okay.
The dumping actually, I think some of it took place in the fall, some of it took place in the spring. Because I remember
Sure.
going out there with DEP in February, and they were going to handle it. And then I got a second call that he was dumping again, and that was in the spring.
No, this all happened while the fellow that we saw owned this property.
Oh, yeah.
He's been here since 2018.
And he didn't unless I missed it, I don't remember him saying, like, admitting that this happened during his watch.
Well, I tell you, he did during the site visit. He tried to make it seem as if it wasn't as bad as it actually was, but we have the
said something like
photographs. We have the
truckloads.
photographs now.
Truckloads happened on his watch, but most of it was there when he moved in. That was what he was trying to say.
Well, we have photographs of dump trucks
Elaine,
And-
are those
I'd like to
pictures
see
dated?
and aerial photos. And we have the aerial photos
Oh, yeah, right.
that show what it looked like before. So it's clear that that land the trees were taken out while he owned that property.
I would
just
like to see
resent
the
the
pictures.
pictures. I just
Yeah.
resent them.
Yeah, are the pictures dated, by the way?
I just resent them.
Judy, is there a date stamp on them?
Let me see.
Not that that always means actually the date they were taken, but
Yeah, because a couple were from the neighbor. And they, let's see.
But Elaine,
Yeah,
Yeah.
back to your issue, I mean, your suggestion, I think it's a great idea, contacting those companies and saying, you represent the Conservation Commission, and we know that you dump, your trucks dumped, where you were not supposed to dump, and, we're asking you to remove it. I think,
Well, that's true. So if we were to do that, then I would need another enforcement order detailing what is to be done out there so that I can pull it all together and have a final plan. So maybe the best thing to do would be to issue an enforcement order and ask them to come before the Conservation Commission on a particular date so we can talk to them. Now, the other thing is we have to restore those elevations. So I think we should be able to determine what's new fill. It hasn't been there long. And scrape it back to the level it was before the fill was put on there. I think you could go in there and just scrape off the fill and then you'd have your elevation.
Yeah, Elaine, I can see some of the dump trucks were dumping in that area where we felt it was kind of like walking on mush.
Yes.
Where all the wood chips were.
Yep.
yeah,
There
yeah.
is- there
I'm
is a
looking
truck-
at the pictures too.
Yeah, there's a truck showing a dump load right there, but I think they're dumping bark mulch and loam, or, just material. But I think they've got a combination of both bark mulch and soil.
Well, I'm thinking he may have chopped up his trees, run them through a chipper.
If you look at one of those, the first picture, it looks like what he was dumping was bark mulch. Or, wood chips, but if they're
Oh,
coming
could
in on a
be.
truck, I think they were coming in on a 10-wheeler truck, so he has more than 3 loads there.
I
And
see.
then-
There was a lot of trees that were taken down. I overlaid the 2 aerials and I counted how many trees that. just
How
moved
many?
on the lot. I
Remember?
have to look. I mean, it was obvious that there was at least 4 or 5, maybe more. I can look them and send that overlay around.
Yeah, I see the excavator. I see 2 different trucks. There's actually a phone number on the truck.
Yep.
Yeah, there's Bobcat and an excavator.
Some of this is up near his house.
He paid someone to come and dump this. I swear to God. And he says now he has no money to fix it. It's just,
I
But
mean,
he said he
it
said
could
he
have been
wants-
free. The fill could have been free.
Right.
Somebody looking to get rid of it.
I think it was, he said that it came from work at someone's house.
Yeah.
So I think it was free.
But
And then he
the
lost his job and,
Bobcat and excavator weren't free.
no, he said he rented that.
Got a new excavator, yeah.
Well, we know there's 2 truckloads for sure because we see that.
Well. Before we talk about planting, I think we have to straighten out some of the grades, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think an area that I think would be good to start in would be where he's got all the bark mulches. Obviously, when we walk down there, he's got like 1.5 feet of bark mulch over the existing contours because it's right next to the swamp. And you can see the difference in elevation.
Yeah, it cuts right into the wetland. That was very easy to see.
Yeah, so I think that whole area looks like it needs to be some of the material removed. I mean, maybe we got to do it in phases with him. I don't know.
He asked if we could do it in phases because he can't afford to do it all at once.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Elaine, I think you have a good idea of contacting the truck guys and see what they say
All right.
as a starting point to see if it's going to help out at all. Not that we need to resolve that for him. That's his own problem, but you know, he's responsible for that. I don't think we have to chase people down, but maybe they will offer something. I don't know.
Okay.
Do you need to tell him that you're contacting them first, or do you just go around?
I will tell him.
Do you think he was contacted between the time that you said DEP was called and then he had more fill put in? You know, you talk about the fall and the spring, Elaine. Do you think that they could have told him and he went ahead and did it anyway after he got notification?
No, when I got the spring, I went out there in February with Libby Sabunjan from DEP after the first filling started. And at that point, she said to me, I'll take care of this. And then I got a second call and I called her again, I don't know, a month, 6 weeks ago, maybe more. And she said that she had not been able to take care of it. So that says to me that she never contacted him.
Mhm.
Peter, you're on mute.
I'm sorry. Does that mean that do you think means that she just never called, so in other words,
Yes, I do. I think she never contacted him.
Okay.
I think she didn't do anything.
So she let the problem get worse, which is a little unfortunate.
Yeah, so I think she was sick, something. But in any event, for one reason or another, she didn't.
Okay.
I'm just wondering whether he was sort of on notice that they had been called or that I don't know. Just some way he's pleading for mercy, and a lot of the facts suggest that he's not being straightforward at all with us, and I'm just curious. I just was curious whether he had whether he knew that other people had called, or whether he knew there was, whether he had reason to believe there was a problem, because he said he was totally unaware, no issues whatsoever. I don't know. I just know that he told a sob story that just didn't seem like it rang true, and that's what I was curious about. And perhaps that doesn't even matter.
I think the biggest issue now is finding somebody who's got enough money to fix it.
Well, I think the biggest thing we should do is come up with a plan of what we want to
Right.
fix.
Right. So I guess the plan is, I think maybe we could do two things at once. The first one is to get the willow stakes and drive them in along the riverbank, although I'm not sure, I'd have to take another look.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
guys
all
remember
disturbed
Wakefield
too.
right up to the stream bank?
Here's all the side throw, from the digging out of the stream on the side of the banks.
But that's
Oh,
gonna,
that whole thing. Yeah, what are we gonna do about that?
I'd say you're gonna leave that because that's gonna grow back. All the seeds and stuff are in that, and I think it would revegetate itself in a short time. I mean, we should go down and see. It was doing that even when we were there. There was new leaves and stuff coming up from the vegetation.
I mean, he's created a pool, in that spot. He's going to be holding water and pooling water.
Well, I think that's. I honestly think his neighbor was helping him out. I think his neighbor was doing some digging there. But not that that matters. It's not his neighbor's property, but I think I would almost see where that goes as far as the spoils that he put up on the bank. I think that might revegetate itself. And what if we concentrate on the areas that are filled that won't revegetate? What do you think?
Yeah,
of that?
but that is filled. The sides of the bank are filled by a good, whatever, foot plus.
Yeah, but it's just gonna all end up back down in the bottom there. I mean, I've seen them dredge, like, even the Mill River, Reedy Meadow, they dredged that and it came right back. They just throw the spoils on the side of the bank and,
That's what mosquito control does too.
right, and it does come back because it's
It does.
really rich soil.
Yeah.
If he's tight on money, I mean, if what will grow naturally will suffice, it might not be the best place to spend the money.
Well, those willow stakes are really inexpensive, and I think it would be nice to get some trees back there.
Yeah.
And those willow stakes, we had some in Winchester that were put in either last year or the year before, and they were about 18 to 24 inches. They're now at 6 feet. So they grow quickly.
Elaine, could you plant them in the area where he put the spoils, or would that be too close to the river, to the stream?
Well, they drive they drive willow stakes right into the edge of a riverbank to stabilize the bank.
Well, that may be a good thing then to do.
So you can put them very close to the water.
Okay.
Yeah, the willows love that type of wet, soil.
Okay, well, maybe that's a good way to go.
And it would give it some shade and it would give it a little more cover for wildlife and
Mhm.
an inexpensive solution that would get some trees back there.
Yeah.
Willows can grow pretty tall, and diameter can be pretty extreme.
Did anyone take any pictures when we were down out there?
No, but we saw a willow off in the distance. It had to be, I don't know, 70 plus feet tall.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking it wouldn't hurt to go down there and just surprise them with another visit to see if anything has changed.
Yeah. Yeah, those, the dredging of the stream looked very, very fresh.
Yeah, I think it was. I also think,
Will that spoils that was off to the side, will that kind of just end up laying down and breaking down on its own, or would we have to break it up a little bit more?
I think it's probably gonna, when the rain hits it a few times, I think it's gonna settle down. Some of it may end up back in the river.
Yeah, it's very loose right now.
Yeah. I think we should come up with a plan. if that's the plan, maybe to start taking the bark mulch out where we know we filled, putting the willow stakes in, that's another area. If there's something else that we need to do, then, let me know.
Well, the other thing is, I thought it would be a good idea to put in a wetland seed mix.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we could get that tree count, we could, and it's a small number, like 5 trees.
Yeah,
He could get 5 trees in there, and then it would be pretty good.
yeah. Okay, it's too bad. We should see if he has a plot plan or something that we can use as a guide to try to draw in something that we're thinking about. Because right now we have no way to document this or
Okay.
even understand what we want to do.
All right.
And then,
If you look at the aerial, you can see the bulk, the mulch area pretty well. It's a completely
Yeah.
different color
Yeah.
from the rest of the upland filling.
yeah,
Is there more than one trucking company, Elaine? I'm just
I
looking.
think there are 2.
Yeah, it
I
looks like
can't read
2.
the
truck and red
signs,
truck.
black dump truck. Can you?
If you look at the bottom of all those pictures, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, I think there's the name of the trucking companies at the very bottom.
The DEP person called them and put all the information about each company right on there, Peter.
Yes, it's in
Oh, okay. Sorry. I could see the diamond one. I just couldn't read. I was trying to read the
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. But again, she made it pretty clear who, who.
Yeah.
So they know, the trucking companies already know because they've already been contacted.
Right.
that truck is from Methuen. Where does he work? Does he work somewhere out there? Where do you find someone from Methuen to come to Wakefield?
If they were working nearby, he said he got the dirt from someone who was working nearby.
Oh,
They could have had a ad on Craigslist.
okay. All right, I think that's where we need to start. And we'll have to continue this thing until we get some satisfaction.
Right.
All
It's
right, so if I
Wow.
contact the trucking company and the property owner again and give them the proposed plan and put it on the agenda for our next meeting, is that okay?
Yep.
All
Yeah,
right,
that sounds good.
all right.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking just in terms of when so, is it ever a good idea just to ask him to tell us what he did? In other words, like when you file your taxes, you tell the government and then they audit it. They audit the truthfulness of what you told them rather than.
But you think he's gonna admit that they're dumping? I don't, Peter, I'm not sure that's gonna happen.
We asked him a lot of very direct questions and did not get a lot of direct
Yeah,
answers.
direct answers at all.
All right. It's just a thought.
Yeah, we maybe after you had left, Peter, on the sidewalk, we did ask him point blank some, direct questions. And, one thing was, well, I think the neighbor may have done it, but I wasn't home. I came home, it was like this. And, there's a lot of vague type of.
I never saw anyone back here.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think part of it might be the way the DEP came on strong and told him that he was in danger of incurring $25,000 in fines. And I think that hanging over someone would make you a little
That's true.
leery,
Yeah.
especially when you have no experience with anything with this.
Okay, that's fair.
And DEP made a point, they did not want enforcement orders issued during the pandemic, during the height of it. So she dropped the ball and now is trying to backtrack, it seems.
Okay.
Okay. That's fair.
All right. So Elaine, you want to recap what you're going to do so we all know? And
Okay, so I'm going to contact the trucking company and talk to them about removing the fill they put in, finding out what kind of equipment they have other than trucks that they can donate to the cause. I'll see if I can find them online and see if they have backhoes that they can get that soil up back into the truck again. I'm going to find a plan where I can show the areas that are to have the soil removed, where the willow trees are going to go, where the wetland seed is going to go. I'm going to be specific about removing the bark mulch and the fill, getting him some information about the willow stakes, and then if I can get a tree count, I think he could, the best he's going to be able to do right away is to remove the fill and restore the grades. I think he could get the willow stakes into the ground this fall. You just get a straight willow stake, it's angled at one end and flat at the other, and you literally just hammer them into the ground. So that shouldn't take that long. And tell everybody what the plan is, and ask the trucking companies and the property owner to come back before the Conservation Commission at the next meeting.
Okay. Elaine, is that a law that they're legally responsible for dumping the material?
It's any owner or operator. So it's the fact that the trucking companies are operators.
That's under the Wetlands Protection Act?
I didn't catch that. What?
That's under the Wetlands Protection Act?
Yeah.
It applies
An
to
owner operator.
Okay.
So what's the definition of operator? I mean,
Yeah.
what if they weren't hired to do the work and they're just trying to get rid of some fill soil? You know, does it have to be a working for situation on behalf of the owner?
Well, if they were in there without the property owner's permission and just dumping soil on his land, you know, he certainly has a cause of action against them. I think that's highly unlikely. I don't think they would have been on his property
I think that's right.
I just didn't know
without
if there's a
his
technical
permission.
difference.
And I think we're offering them an inexpensive way out. They've
Yeah,
got the trucks.
considering that we're designing the whole project for them,
Yeah,
let them do the thing.
Right, exactly.
Seems a little bit bizarre, but
Would we direct to remove the mulch from the property completely or just out of the area?
I think we're looking to remove whatever is filling up the original grades, whether it's dirt or mulch. You have to get it back to its original grade, no matter what's on top of it.
But I think Ken asked, and put it where? Just off the property or just?
You put it in the back of the truck that brought it there.
Okay, and off the property, right.
Okay, and then they're right back where they started,
Right.
looking for a place to get rid of fill.
Yep.
Yeah, and based on, to Jimmy's point, with the phased approach, that area to the left, when you're going back of the house, it was clearly filled with a spongy mulch area. You can see that obviously, what was done there. It's like a peninsula he created, in that area because it's surrounded by wetlands. So yeah, if we do a phased approach, that would be an easy target for, phase one or planting the willows and doing that area as phase one.
yeah. Well, let's get a plan then, and we'll revisit the whole thing and see what makes sense to everyone.
And if we do it phased, that whole peninsula, I think if you get it down to its original grades, because it's so close to the existing wetland, I think you'd start seeing wetland vegetation poke through by next spring.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
I
not a
think,
big job. I mean, you're probably talking, I don't know, with a Bobcat, I don't know, half a day or something, Jimmy?
Oh, I think you're gonna pay for a day anyways.
Yeah, in that area though, you think it's a full day's worth of,
I don't think it matters. They're gonna charge you for a day anyways.
yeah.
Machine's there, that's what it is.
But it's
gonna-
just that my point is, that is not a big job in that spot.
No, I don't think so. I think it's something they could easily accomplish in a day.
Yeah. You have a Bobcat.
What?
Don't you have a Bobcat?
I did.
You did. No longer.
My brother's got it. Okay. Have we beat this thing up enough? Does anyone have something else they want to add?
No, I don't. Not me.
Ken? Teresa?
No, I'm just fascinated that I'm looking at the definitions on the Wetlands Protection Act and the regs that it
Yeah.
applies to. I'll satisfy myself on that. And Elaine.
Well, you can share with us what you figure out.
Well, I didn't need to figure it out. Elaine could tell me, but I'll figure it out.
Okay.
All right. If we're done with that one, we do have one more item.
Okay, did we lose Peter? I didn't hear anything out of him.
No, I'm good. I just keep on mute because my dog got bored and is snoring her brains out.
Either that or you just gently wake them up.
I think if you get one of Mike's pillows like the president uses, you'll be all right.
God.
Okay.
All right. So the last item is Second Street lot invasive management. We did do a site walk after Shady Ave to 2nd Street. Last Thursday or whatever it was. And Elaine, you were gonna get the plan of the lot next door to it to see where the property line was or something.
yes, that's true. And I looked it up, and unfortunately, I used the state geographic information system, and it doesn't, I can print it out, but I wasn't able to electronically send it. However, what I did see was that, as you recall, the property facing the house from the street, there was the house, then to the right of the house, there was the driveway.
Right.
And then there was a cleared area to the
Yes.
right of the driveway.
Yeah.
That cleared area marked the end of her property. So she cleared right to the property line.
Okay.
So the other thing I was able to see was that the wetland on the property, at least according to the GIS map, is tucked into that forested area. It's not right on the edge. So it seems to me that it's a town property. We don't really have to worry about harming a wetland if you clear the invasives along the edge. And I looked into the interior of that area. The invasives are on the edge. It isn't the entire lot. It's just the edge where it gets a lot of sun. So it just seems to me that we could call Dennis Fazio and ask him to remove the vines from the trees. As for the pokeweed, that'll die in the first frost.
Right, but it regenerates so quickly. That's the problem. And that lot is the floodplain. The whole area is in the floodplain.
But even if you pull that out, even if you were to go around and pull that pokeweed out, either you'd leave the roots in the ground, which would regenerate, or I was looking at it and those seeds are almost ripe. So
Right.
there's going to be a ton of seeds back in the ground again. I think
Right.
the best we're going to be able to do for this woman is to pull the vines, get the vines out of the trees, either to pull them out or to cut them at the base and let them die on the tree.
Right, but when I didn't look at it as just for her, just for the abutter,
Yeah.
because the neighbors use it to dump all their grass clippings and everything else.
Oh,
Yes.
So I
we could
thought
ask
if
for
it
a
were,
sign to be put up.
right, but I think if it looks dumpy, then it's going to be used in that way. But if it's in the spring, the pokeweed can be pulled out when it's starting to grow. And then some plantings can be put in to outcompete that. And then if it looks nicer, then it may not be used as a dumping ground.
Ah,
Yeah, there were
Because
full
that's all-
bags of leaves just sitting
Right.
on the side.
Right. And
They
then
just
there could
pulled
be a
up at the front.
sign, you know, this is a wetland, this is the function. That's all part of that Healthy Soils Action Plan, is creating an awareness of the value of a wetland soil and what its function is. It's not to dump everything in.
Yeah, signs would certainly make sense to add in that location.
But I think, because right now Dennis does come by every time it grows and cuts them back, which just makes them grow double. When you,
Yeah.
the more you cut those back, the more they regenerate.
In the pokeweed, it's very difficult to pull that out of the ground. It just breaks off and the roots stay behind.
Right, but when it
Yeah,
starts in the
almost
spring,
have to
you can
dig it
dig it out,
Yeah, you have to
and
dig
that's
that
pretty
stuff out.
successful, because I've done that. But that's
Yeah,
why I
and-
thought if someone could, if there was a consultant that could come out and see if there could be a plan to make the lot look a lot better, it would maybe help people realize that this has a better value to you, even their own property values, having a
Mhm.
better looking lot beside them. And it would be so much better functionally for that wetland. Which
Would
should be
anyone
what
be
the
able to
goal is.
approach, would anyone be able to approach homeowners and let them know they're not supposed to be doing that, or leave them a letter, you know, just not blaming anyone, but letting them know what's regulated and how
Should
it's
they not
regulated?
know they're not supposed to be doing that?
Yeah,
But we don't really know who did it.
No, yeah, I'm not blaming anyone, definitely not.
right. It would have to be just, it's a short
Informational.
street, right. It could just be to the neighbors. But I think the worse it looks, then the more people are going to look at it as it's just a dumping ground. It's
Yeah.
like that broken window theory. If the windows are broken, it looks like a dump, and people are going to treat it like that. And that it decreases the value of the wetland. That's the biggest problem. And that's what, I mean, that's the whole thing with resilience, and there's a whole state initiative on resilient areas. And protecting the soil and increasing its value is the biggest part of it. And that should be something that's looked at, whether it's the way a site is developed, or the way the buffer is used, or enhancing a buffer that's nearby. I mean, all these lots, there are so many town lots that are like this, that are in kind of tucked away areas that are just used
Yeah,
for yard refuse, which I mean, it's human nature. It's not a criticism. But it's something that heightening awareness of it and the value of the wetland and what that wetland provides for the community at large, carbon uptake, how a healthy wetland keeps down mosquitoes and other invasive pests. I mean, it's things like that that people don't realize, they don't think about. But it's something where there's so few areas left that they need to be better protected, I think,
all right,
So-
so
and
does,
restored.
What are you actually proposing, Judy?
yeah, that was my next
Okay.
question.
To have a consultant come out and see if there can be some type of planting plan that will help the functional value of the wetland.
All right, and Judy, are you telling me that Dennis goes out there and cuts down the vines already?
He
Is that
takes down
something
some
he
of the
does?
vines, he cuts down the pokeweed, you know, just
Can-
goes
can
out
he
with
get
one of
in
those
there?
loppers and. you know, those
And
machines.
have you been coordinating that with him?
I talked to him because it was really overhanging the lawn, so he sent someone out, and they have, it's like a bush trimmer.
Well, would he be interested in, do you think you can get him to take all the brush out that's inside the wetland, all the dead branches and stuff?
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's
Well,
probably,
everything that's been dumped along the Second Street edge too.
yeah.
right, right.
So if you really want to make it a showpiece so that you can, you know, show it to other people or someone else in the town, I think it would be worth it to try to get some cleaning done by Dennis
Right.
maybe.
Right.
And then
No, he would
also,
do that.
I wouldn't be opposed to a consultant taking I don't think it'd be that hard. What about the person that does Janice Nigro at, you know,
Oh,
along the lake?
behind
That's
Yeah.
Ann McMenamin?
Yeah,
What?
that's Ann McMenemy.
Yeah, so
Yep. Yeah, she was good.
maybe you could get a quote from her on what it would take to go out there and take a look at that.
This could be something we could get the scouts involved with, helping restore it too as a project for one of them.
Yeah,
Right,
that
right.
actually would be a great project. They have to get out there in the mud. They'd love it.
Yeah,
And then they could have the signage,
yeah,
because it could have on the sign, this is what lives here. These are the
We've got-
tracks. These are the plants that live here.
We've got signage with our
Yeah,
beavers.
we get the beaver signs.
Yeah.
We got to use those things. We got to love them.
They don't
I'm
say
talking
anything
about
on
like
it,
a
do they?
kiosk, not
Yeah.
a tiny sign.
Okay.
That's a good Eagle Scout project.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That was what I was saying.
too. I think that's a really good idea.
But there are a
Yeah.
lot of lots, town-owned lots that are tax title, that are just withering away, that should be paid attention to.
Okay, so why don't we take the next step with that and talk to Dennis and see what he has to say.
Well, I'm talking to environmental sustainability because they have money through the MVP grant.
Okay,
So I'm hoping to kind of weasel my way into that,
okay.
into their money.
If
I spend our money.
anyone could do it, Judy, you can do it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I mean, if there's grant money, then that's,
That's a compliment, Judy, right?
thank you. Free money's free money.
Yeah. And that's what it's there for, so.
Right, exactly. Because the Healthy Soils is part of the MVP initiative, so it fits in.
That's great.
Okay. Sounds good.
So I found the section in the act, I'm sorry, I know you people are waiting for, no person shall remove, fill, dredge, or alter any area subject to protection under the act without the required authorization. So it's no person, anyone who does it can be liable. And then again, chapter 131, section 40 says, again, anyone who violates it shall be punished by a fine of not more than $25,000 per day or by imprisonment or both.
Wow.
And again,
Yay.
enforcing it, but it's still pretty impressive.
Okay, that's good information.
So go after those trucking companies, right?
Well, that's probably exactly what Libby had read off to the guy.
Yeah,
Right, no, I know.
Right.
yeah.
All
Righty.
right, we got anything else? Any other items, Judy or Elaine, that are not on the agenda?
I don't have anything.
No,
All right, I see Judy's already sent out the invite for the site walk.
So I'll see some of you on Sunday then.
Yeah,
Yeah, I definitely won't be there. I won't be back till Monday sometime.
Well, I'm sorry I missed the other sidewalk. I'd like to have seen, especially Shady Avenue, but,
There may be more.
right.
mhm.
But I'm glad I was on vacation, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right, so somebody like to make a motion to adjourn? Looks like
Sounds-
you. Okay, second.
Second.
All right. Ken,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So meeting is adjourned. Good night,
Okay.
everybody.
Good night, all.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
right.